Welcome to Africa Agenda. My name is Dziedzorm Sanaki, and today we have with us Mr. Emmanuel Weyi, who is running for president of the Democratic Republic of Congo in the 2016 elections. Mr. Weyi, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
All right. Well, sir, we'll go ahead and start into our first question for you, which is why you are here, is why are you running for presidency for the Democratic Republic of Congo?
As the people, for the past 5 years, I've been going home, seeing the degradation of the country and seeing how people suffering. That's really where my decision came to go home and help the people.
Well, you said it's for the people, and when we look at your campaign, your slogans, it says "Stand by me." What do you have? What do you can you give to the people to know that they can stand by you? What should they look forward to know that you have the ability to change the country and to bring the country to a stable place?
Is my experience. I'm not a career politician who's been in politics for 10, 20, 35 years, whatever the number may be. I'm a businessman. When I came to the United States, my wife and I, we just had $135. We had a dream, and from the $135, we built a company. So my experience teaches me when I go home, I know how to take things from nothing and bring it to make it big. So with my experience being a businessman, most of the people in Congo, even the governments, the presidents, or people just visiting Congo, they see problems. As a businessman, I see opportunities. You know, when people say there is no transportation, I see I can go home, bring a company, I can buy buses. With those buses, I can create jobs, I can make a country better country.
Okay. Well, you also mentioned that you do live here, and the question becomes, the elections are being held in Congo and you live here, the question becomes, how are you able to run a country that you do not live in each day?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been asked that question a lot. In 2010, my business partner and I, we decided to take 45% of the company back home. You know, I didn't want to be somebody who just criticize and not bringing a solution. I took 45% of the company back home. We opened office in downtown. I hired people. And for me, paycheck is not just something, you know, you pay somebody, you say, I pay him $15 as a boss or as an owner, you go home. No, I know paycheck is something change people's lives. So we were paying people well. For the past 6 years, every year I go home, I stay there for between 6 and 7 months. So I have a house there, I have a land there. I have my father just passed away 2 years ago, so my parents still live there. I speak, in Congo we speak 4 languages plus French. I speak 3 of them, and 4 plus French and English. So I am a tribal chief, so I know my country well. Yeah.
All right. Well, you also were talking about taking buses, buying buses back there and employing men and all that. On one of your platforms, you spoke on women. What are your plans for women also in that country to kind of bring help to the families?
For me, is my siblings. I have 6 sisters. You know, for a long time, they used to call me mama's boy. You know, I used to say, oh, no, come on. But now, you know, I'm not ashamed of it. You know, I tell them, okay, hell of it. You know, I love my mom. She raised me well. As African boy or as African son, is one thing I've noticed, we spend more time with our mothers than our fathers. You know, most of the time, you know, some house you see, sometimes the father is not there no more, but the mom does everything for the kid to go to school, for the kid to eat, to have a roof on their head. So you have to give, is like to be a coach, you need to be coached to become a good coach. So those moms, those women, they're working hard. Why not give them the tools, empower them so they can become better, they can become business women, teachers, wherever they want to be. And as one study, as a businessman I read, I think 3 or 4 years ago, any company the one has at least 30% of the women in the boardroom, the company is better. So think about it, if we have to bring all those women with us as a society in Congo, the Congo is going to become a better country, I believe it.
Well, just to kind of clarify it a little bit is, what are you specifically, I think the audience want to know specifically, what are the plans that you have for women? What are the plans to bring jobs? What are the plans to bring down, the rapes and the mass murders? What are if you could kind of just give us a little examples of, or just plans that you have for the country?
I have to divide my plans in 2 parts. The first one is the girls and the young girls. I know the situation well, because since I've been running, I have people in the campaign. They live in the area. They'll give me reports. I read them, understand them. For the young girls, first is education. Is one thing I've learned, is my own experience. When I was growing up, my father was a banker. But not everybody in school, their father were the banker, father were the minister. No, they were just regular people. But through school, they became big people. So education for me is something, is like is the one that's going to take you to a place you even don't know. So we have to create a better education for those girls. And the second one, they cannot go back to school. There are some technical school or high school, special school we can create. We can send them to become nurses, to become, wherever they feel like, in fashion, things you can just take. It takes like a year or 2 years to get a training, all you need, and become independent. That's for the girls. And for the moms, the one already grown, the program I've been reading around the country, around the globe. There are some company going with those micro loan system. You can go and give them whatever the amount may be, 200 or 400, 500, and for that 500, you train them, or even sometimes give them products they can sell. So from the profit, they can grow to become self-sufficient. But when it comes to the rape, that's a very serious problem. For me, having being in a mine, in a mining industry, and being in a renewable, because that's the 2 things I used to do, and export import. So I had a chance to go and visit rural area and seeing in my own eyes what's the problem. I haven't noticed in Congo, the rape has become out of control because there is no accountability. The people know that I can just go do bad thing and go home. Nobody's going to do nothing. So for me as a president, you do wrong, I'm going to hold you accountable. And I know things are going to change.
Well, to go off on that is, when we both know there's such a negative image of Africa being portrayed, and when we come to specific on the DRC, we just talked about the rape and the mass murder, and you just said you want to hold the people accountable. So the kind of question becomes is, how do we change that picture for the audience of Africa, and then how are we planning on changing them and holding them accountable for the actions that they do?
For the image, I can't blame us as no regular African, but I'm blaming the African leadership, all the presidents, the prime ministers, all people in the governments everywhere in Africa. They're not doing us a good service, saying when they come to United States, tell the story as an African. When I'm running, as I go around the country, speech or talk to people get surprised sometimes when I tell them the story of Africa. I tell them Africa is a place, it's been there for more than 2 million years. We have our own customs, we have the way we do marriage, we have judges when somebody do wrong in the village, where you take them, we have the punishment. So what the Europeans brought to us was technology, but we existed before what people came. So the way you see the story about Africa is like Africa never existed before the Europeans came. So that's the story I'm telling as the African son. That's you have to understand and listen the story about Africa from African. And for that being saying, us now, the new generation, that's what we have to do, is going to business trade, even take some ad on TV. Say, I'm African, I am Zambian, I'm Cameroonian, I'm Congolese, I am African. This is my story. I know that not everything is working well in Africa, but we now stupid people like we see on TV. You see African everywhere like you, him, my son, is decent. We are professor, we are pilots, wherever, Africans there. And we're not lazy, like to see on TV, people just waiting for the United Nations to come and give them food now. Is the image that some NGOs, they use. That's the way to make money. So us as African, it's time to stand up and be proud to be African and tell our story to people, who we are.
Well, on a lighter note, what are your thoughts on the American elections that are going on right now? What are your thoughts on them?
Now I'm running I have to, watch how I'm gonna craft it, and the only thing I can say, just the best person win. Either Hillary or Senator Sanders or even Trump or however the person on the Republican side. We are personally, I wish them well. Like I said, the best person win. We're going to be happy. Just and we're going to wish the person to be the best president he can be. That's the only thing I can say.
All righty. So for that, as we were talking about changing that image of Africa, what are your plans to improve the relation between Africa and America?
My first thing is, as I can say, like they say in the business, first thing first. I have to start first in Congo, because one thing each tribe or each continent has its positivity and its negativity. The negativity I have to see as African, because I travel in a lot of countries in Africa as being in a renewable business and mining. We don't take responsibility with what we do. When I see even in my own family, when somebody does wrong, instead just saying, okay, I did it, I was wrong, I made a mistake. No, they have to blame somebody else. So that's something I want to bring first in my administration, is holding people accountable and people being responsible when they do wrong. So after we clean up the part saying we are responsible with what we're doing or what we're going to do wrong, from the foundation, then we can build and change the image. Because people, they're going to see you the way you portray yourself. When you come to any place, like you go eat in a restaurant, if you clean, it doesn't have to be wearing a suit, even wearing a jean. You clean, people open the door, oh, sir, ma'am, oh, you want to sit down. But when you come, people feel like, you just come from, repairing a car, hand the door. People ask you, is this something? The way you portray yourself, that's how people are going to respect you. So that's the thing we need to change in Congo, I can say in Africa.
All right. Well, do you have any last thoughts or any comments for your supporters or anybody that's watching?
Everybody who's supporting me, I cannot just say me, because when you're campaigning, you have a team of people. They work hard for you, they sacrifice their sleeps, they sacrifice their leisure, they sacrifice a lot for you. Business you can do by yourself, but campaigning, I can never say everybody's supporting us as a campaign. I thank them. We're going to ask them to keep on supporting us. We have this is just the beginning. We're not even halfway of the election. So thanks so very much for everything. I told them the difference between myself as a leader of the campaign and the President Kabila. I told them I'm the only one in Congo. When I go there, I look everybody say, I never steal from the country. I never killed nobody. I never did nothing wrong. I am proud of my record. My only pride is being a husband, being a father, and a grandfather, and being African.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Weyi, for coming to our discussion today. And for those of you who would like more information on Mr. Weyi's campaign, please visit him at emmanuelweyi.com. And for more information on our nonprofit organization, visit us at africaagenda.org. And we'll see you the next time. Thank you.